Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Best Day Ever podcast. This is officially episode 20, and I just want to say I'm so proud of myself because, as many people who are very close to me know, I have a struggle of not being good at discipline and consistency. I'm just throwing that out there to be completely honest and to be completely raw. And so the fact that I made it to episode 20, I'm very proud of myself. And, but that's not what this is about. What this episode is about, as you saw from the title, is the question, does your voice matter? Does my voice matter in this world that we live in? Does my voice make an impact at all? Does it make an impact on the people around me? And that's what we're going to get into today. So, to start off, I just want to put that question out there for you to just sit and ponder about for a second. Does your voice matter? Do you feel like you put yourself out there in the world with that boldness and confidence that that your voice carries value? Or do you feel like, as you reflect, that you kind of hold in your thoughts and your opinions and your perspective on things because you feel like maybe it doesn't matter or my voice is not valuable? I just want you to think about that. And as you think about that, I just wanted to say God's design of our human body is just truly amazing to me. If you ever just look at your feet and you're just like, why do I have these toes on my feet? So random. Or you're just like, look at yourself and you're just like, why did God design me this way? And I just think, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I just thought to myself the other day, how cool it is that we have a voice. And we have these, I don't even know where our voice comes from, the vocal cords. I should have done a little bit more research on our voice, how it is literally made in the human body. But how cool that we have a voice. And when you think about all the other creatures that have been created by God, all creatures, living creatures, they carry a voice. Think about bears. Bears, they growl. Tigers roar. Birds sing. And actually, I was looking at a video, and ants, they make a noise. I know you maybe never thought about that once in your life, but I just gave you a fun fact for the day that ants actually do make a sound, and it's a crazy high pitch, what you would hear when you speed up a video clip, and it's screeching, and it's ah! It's very, very high pitch. That is literally what ants sound like. And anyway, so I just want to ask another question. Why again do you think, or if you think at all, why do you think your voice matters? And if so, I want to ask you another question. Why is it important that we have voices? Because we have voices, all these living creatures have voices. So it's why do we have voices? What is the importance of having voices? And in my opinion, I believe that the importance of having a voice is because humans are social creatures, and we need a way to communicate because we are social. And of course, you can socialize physically, high fives and all that stuff. But imagine sitting in a room with all your friends, and all you can do is eat and high five and stare at each other. You need a voice to be able to communicate and talk. And I was reading and how from early age, actually, your levels of socializing can play a very big effect on you. And it says there's a big importance for early socialization when you're a child and when you're an infant, because it actually helps one's personal and emotional development. Because imagine being a baby and your first time meeting someone outside of your mom and your dad is when you go to school at 5 or 6 years old. That's 5, 6 years of your life that you've been around the same two people, and you haven't had any experiences to socialize, to grow, learn how to communicate, and even just learning how to handle when you're upset that someone took your toys, and just learning how to handle and problem solve different situations. Like, it is so important. Socialization is so important, even as a little child. And I also was reading that to answer, voices are important for humans. They are the medium through which we do a lot of communicating with the world around us. And when you think about it, when you're talking to someone, think about when you talk about your life to the closest person. You're sharing your ideas, and you're sharing your emotions, and you're sharing your personality, you're sharing your weirdness, you're sharing all the sides of you. And it is so freeing to be able to open up, like to be able to have someone in your life that you can just share your thoughts with. It feels like you can just like take a deep breath and you don't have to carry it all in your head. And if that is you, God bless you if you found someone that you can be so free, because that is truly a gift. And I think that this is what it's all about. Like, it's so hard for some people to actually have that vulnerability and to be comfortable enough to actually open up about who they are with other people. And even for myself, I remember I struggled for several years, almost trying to put on this like face that I have it all together, and I would never really let people in deeper into my life about my thoughts, how I feel about certain things, my emotions. If I was upset with them, I never let people into that. And so I've learned years later the importance of just being vulnerable and talking and communicating, sharing how I feel with people outside of just my family. And there's so many benefits of socializing, but I specifically want to tell you why your voice matters. And your voice matters is because the reason your voice matters is because there's so much power in your voice. And importantly, just the person that you are, who God has created you to be, that person was meant to be shared. Even if it is, I'm not saying like to just change in one day and just become an outgoing person and super extroverted. Actually, no, you can still be social and expressive even as a more introverted person. And that can just mean maybe you're more of a listener rather than a talker. But still, you're socializing with other people, and you're able to still give feedback and responses and share your thoughts and your opinions. So actually, it's not even a question of does your voice matter, but it's actually the question, why does my voice matter? And it's because your voice is important, and it's simple. You're the only you that exists, and you're the only one that has the experiences and stories that you've had that have helped build the person of who you are. Because we are such social humans, because we are human beings that need connection with other people, the effects of not socialization are actually very damaging, and they can lead to a lot of stress and loneliness and anxiety. And I feel like a lot of that just comes out of just being comfortable. Like, especially out of COVID, as everybody knows, you spend a lot of time in the house. And actually, by doing that, you really just started to slowly kind of isolate and block yourself out from the world. Or maybe you were like other people who just needed to get out of the house, so you just did everything you could. Maybe you got too much socialization after COVID because you were like, I just need to get back into the world and talk to everybody. But some of the people who have actually turned out of COVID being more to themselves. Maybe you're someone who does experience a little bit more anxiety. And I feel like in general, anxiety just comes from obviously a lot of different things. But when I think about the things that I get anxious for. I'm not going to say that I have anxiety, but I do get anxious about certain things. And when I think about the things I get anxious about, I feel like they always are rooted in some sort of fear. And for example, maybe you have a fear of going out and meeting new people because you don't know what they're going to say or how they're going to respond. Or maybe you have a fear of what it's going to be like to talk to a new person, or maybe talk to old friends that you haven't seen in several years. You don't know how it's going to play out. I'm not saying if you are maybe more to yourself that you are not a social person, but this is just the general person who knows that they have lost touch with just that social part of their life, and they're craving to know what can they do to just get back into the world and get over the fear and just really find their voice again. And I actually just have some tips for how to build some social skills. So the number one thing I would suggest, there's 3 things. So number 1 is, I would just say, start practicing gratitude, not just to yourself and not just in your journal, but actually out loud to the people that you are grateful for, or even in a small moment. For example, let's say that you are going to Twin Valley Coffee, the best local brewery, and you're waiting in line, you're waiting for your order, and you could just ask, the person, the cashier, how's your day going? How are you doing? You just have a short little conversation, and then just thank the person after they give you your cold brew, your hazelnut with chocolate syrup cold brew. Or you could, as you're walking in and out of a store, just open the door for someone and just acknowledge them. This isn't really a verbal act, but just by being around other people and just doing things slowly, acknowledging that there are other people around you, and acknowledging the people that you're interacting with, and not just, for example, like checking out of the grocery store and just not even saying a word. You could just make eye contact with that person and just acknowledge them as a human and just simply say thank you. I feel like that is a great way, just in daily life stuff, to build your social skills. And but more deeper with expressing gratitude, I would say, with the people that you do have around you, where maybe you are able to maybe share more. I would just say, for example, with friends, like just take a moment to express your gratitude with friends or with family a little bit more, and just start expressing more of that vulnerability side to you, just to really build, or just getting used to, honestly, sharing your thoughts. Number 2, you could volunteer somewhere. You could hop into the local SPCA, or my favorite is nursing homes. I volunteered at a nursing home my senior year of high school, and it was actually one of the best experiences ever. All they want to do there is just talk and chat about their life, about their stories, and I could just sit there all day because I love hearing about people's stories, and they just want to talk. So even if you don't want to talk, just learning how to listen, because sometimes, actually, the Bible says, be slow to speak and quick to listen. So I'm not saying all of this to say you need to start being a super chatty, extroverted person, but you can still build your social skills by just being a listener. And so by volunteering somewhere that you're interested in, it can actually be somewhere that you are comfortable because it piques some of your interest. I just think that would also be a great step. And lastly, I would say, if you know of any people, for example, maybe you have some neighborhood friends, or maybe there's a random club going on at school, chess club, and maybe you just want to get around a new group of people, I would suggest sometimes just stepping out into people who actually don't even know you that well actually will make you more comfortable, because these people don't have any previous opinions of you, thoughts about you. You can truly, truly just loosen up, because there's no pre-made thoughts about who you are, and that people are just going to welcome you. I would highly, highly suggest a Young Life Club if you are at any high schools with a Young Life, or college with Young Life. I would suggest, I'm trying to think. Sometimes there'll be like random like art clubs or a guitar club, just things that pique your interest so you could be around like-minded people who are just awesome and they're just like you. And you can have conversations about similar interests. So after all that being said, I just hope you guys know that you are so special and you're so amazing. And if you ever doubt your voice or who you are, I will be here to remind you that you are so special, you're so valuable, and God truly does have a great plan and purpose ahead of you. But you do just need to take it one day at a time and really just be gracious to yourself in this journey of learning about who you are so that you can really build up this beautiful flower, because flowers, they take rain and they take sunshine, they take hard days, good days, but at the end you're going to be blooming in all this, after all the seasons, after all the growth. It'll all be well worth it. Well, thank you so much, friends. Thank you for being here on the Best Day Ever podcast. And in case you didn't know, today's the best day ever because it's the only day you got. I love you guys so much. Have a beautiful Wednesday. See you guys.